Today is the 5th day of Av, the Yortzeit of the Arizal, and it's also the 9th of August. And we're holding by chapter 14 of Shorish Mitzvos Tefillah and Derech Mitzvosecha. ועתה יש להבין איך ועל ידי מה ומי הגורם להמשכה הנ"ל. So, 3 questions. How, איך, by who, and by what? By what and by who does all this happen? Okay. These 3 questions, Eich, Ma, Umi, even though he doesn't mention them here, why do you need to ask all these details? How, what, and who? So me is well known. Well, these 3 questions, they correspond to Keter Chochma Bina. Crown, wisdom, and understanding. Ech, how? It's like Ech is like, in what fashion does this happen? And so the answer here is very close to where. Ech is like ayeh, or even though you're saying how, I don't know how to explain it. It's just crown. But the ma and mi is well known. Ma is wisdom, and mi is understanding. So how does all this happen? How does this whole initial access to everything that's happening here happen? So his answer is like this. It says, for this we said the first 2 words, Shema Yisrael. We said that there's no article there. We're not talking to anyone. Who are we talking to? We're talking to ourselves, as it were. So, but this is reaching the source beyond everything. לומר שההמשכה הוא על ידי התשובה לברר הבירורים מה שהאדם אוכל ומתפלל אחר כך בכוח זה. So he says, what this means is that what we're drawing down is coming through tshuva. How did we suddenly get to tshuva here? That's the question. We're getting to tshuva because we said that all of Shema is in the world of Bria. That's why we're sitting down. The world of Bria is the world of tshuva also. And what's it doing? What is this tshuva doing? What is this return to Hashem doing? לברר הבירורים מה שהאדם אוכל ומתפלל אחר כך בכוח זה. וכן כל למתת מלאכות, החורש וכו', שהבירורים העולים אחר כך על ידי התפילה, הם הגורמים המשכה זו, ונרמז זה בתיבת שמה, שם עין, ונזכר בכוונות האריזל. Okay. So he says, all this ability that we have to reach beyond comes from the birur. Birur is like the taking out the spark out of what we did. In this case, he says it's out of our food and all the work that we did. What he's saying is, it's not so simple that a human being can reach there. If you say to someone, just take a random person in the world, and say to them, I want you to address that which is beyond everything. I want you to reach that level and to bring something down. I'd be surprised if you understood even what you said. What do you mean? What's the name? Right? If it doesn't have a name, what do you want me to do? How am I supposed to access it? What are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about. What gives a Jew the power to do this is that he's doing mitzvos all day long. And the mitzvos, their purpose, one of their purposes, is to bring the holiness out of the world, to extract the holiness. That's what's called elevating the sparks. So he says it's the tshuva that's not tshuva that I'm returning to God in the usual sense. I did something wrong and now I have to ask for forgiveness and I promise I won't do it again and so on. He says this is the tshuva of the work in the world. Because what is work in the world? What are we doing? We're extracting the holiness, returning it to God. So that's the how. The how that's making this possible is our avodas Hashem. the fact that we serve Hashem. So the day before I served Hashem, and I raised whatever I raised. It could be that it's through food, like he says, through the 39 categories of labor, of work that are forbidden on Shabbos. These are the basic categories of human endeavor. All these things, they extract holiness, they lift it, and that's called a return of the holiness to its source. Why? Because when something returns, it says that Kol or chozer lekadmuto mamash. When something returns, it goes higher than its origin. So, when the spark of holiness came into my carrot, it came from somewhere very high, very nice, but it's nothing compared to what happens when I eat it and I elevate the holiness in it, because then it goes to a higher place. What?
Same place where it was before.
No, kadmuto is like lefanav, before it. Mashe kodem lo. You're right, you can understand it that way, but it's very clear in Chassidus that what this means is, the way to take is to the source itself, to kadmon.
It's mixing in Shema Yisrael now.
He's saying that the reason we can do this, the reason we have this mitzvah called Shema Yisrael, and we can even access this level, is because all the work that we do is accessing this level. By Shema Yisrael, we're drawing it down.
Somebody is not doing tshuva this minute, not tshuva this minute.
He's not working.
He never did mitzvah.
Right? He can't do it. He doesn't understand this. He won't understand this. You have to have this attitude, this mindset, that what I'm doing in the world is I'm elevating the holiness. How high am I elevating the holiness? So it's not like I'm putting it in some container in heaven. I'm returning it to its very source, which is much higher than where it came from. Because where it came from to us is somebody planted it in a garden somewhere. That's how it got here. We're going back, all this elevation, all this avodat berurim it's called, is lifting, is raising us to a place where in our mind we can even access it. Otherwise we don't understand what this means. The point is that when I told you right away, when I told you in the beginning that we're going beyond all names, you didn't flinch. You understood right away. There's what I can grasp and there's what I can't grasp. And why is it that I'm so easily convinced that there's such a thing? Because this is how I work all day long. This is how I see the world to begin with. שהבירורים העולים אחר כך על ידי התפילה הם הגורמים המשכה זו. So that which is elevating through our prayers, through all our work, again prayer here is just an example, they are what will now draw down the infinite revelation of Hashem. V'nirmazeh, and there's an allusion to this in the word Shema, because we said that yesterday we talked about the Dalid being a major Dalid. Now we're talking about the Ayin being a major Ayin. So it's Shem Ayin. Really it's Shin Mem, and the Ayin is a big Ayin. It's 4 times as large as a regular Ayin. So what does that mean? What's that going on? So he says this is mentioned in the Kavanos and the intentions of the Arizal. The Shin Mem, that Shem Ayin, it's like Shin Mem 340, which is equal to many interesting things like Sefer and a lot of stuff equals 340. But here he brings this kavana that Shin Mem is the value of Rapach המתבררים על ידי שם בן דתיקון במילוי ההין המברר אותם כי בן ורפח בגימטרי השם. So he now says 340 is the value of rapach, number of sparks of holiness that's in the world at any given moment, 288 sparks, and they are clarified, meaning they're raised by the rectified name Ban. What's the name Ban? Name Ban is when I take Yud-Kei Vav-Kei and I do a filling and I use Heys. So it comes out to Yud Vav Daled, Hey Hey, Vav Vav Hey Hey. All that together is equal to 52. Right? There's 4 major fillings. Ab Sag Ma Ban, 72, 63, 45, and 52. And 52 is the one that's broken, as it were, and we elevate from it. And after it's fixed, after we've elevated, it's called Shem Ban Tikun. It's called the name of 52 of rectification. It's rectified. והעניין לפי שכל עניין השבירה והתיקון אינו רק אצלנו בערך הספירות והעולמות, שהרי הבחינה יותר גבוהה שהגיעו בהפגם על ידי השבירה היא רק בבחינת האורות, ואף גם הם לא נשברו חס וחלילה. What does this mean? It means that this whole thing that we see the world as, and again, this is a mindset. You have to subscribe to this mindset in Yiddishkeit, that I came into the world to fix it. Tikkun olam. Well, how do I do tikkun olam? I do mitzvot. What do mitzvot do? They elevate the spark of holiness and everything. Amongst other things, they do a lot of other things also. But that's one of the main things. That's how the Arizal explains it. That's how the Zohar explains it. But this whole process that it was holiness to elevate, where did that come from? So that came from the shattering of the vessels of the world of chaos. Now we're beginning to understand what does it mean that it goes higher. Because when we say that we elevate the spark of holiness, where did the spark of holiness come from? It came from the world of chaos. The world of chaos is the world that shattered. Why did it shatter? Because there was this overwhelming sense of I will rule, I will be sovereign. It's a sense of hubris, of pride, of self-pride, of I will be the king. And because of that, it shatters. Any person who has too much pride, in the end, shatters. The same thing is true of a spiritual world. If it has too much pride, it shatters. So it shattered, and all the sparks of holiness that were in that world are now scattered here in our world. Now, you don't have to think about this as something that happened 6,000 years ago or 1 billion years ago. This is something that happened this morning. Somebody woke up. They woke up. And they feel that today they're going to make a killing on the stock market. They're full of pride. And they're scattering holiness in different places. They're breaking because it doesn't work. And suddenly they're scattered everywhere. Or, if you want to talk about the carrot, so the farmer who grew the carrot, when he grew the carrot, he was full of pride. I don't know why. For whatever reason. I'm the master of this land. I just beat my biggest competitor, or whatever it is. There's now a spark of holiness in that carrot that needs to be elevated. A spark of holiness literally means a sustaining spark of godliness. Something's making this grow. Something's making this exist in the first place. That's Hashem. So if I would just be returning it to its source, to its origin, I would only be rebuilding what's called the world of chaos. But here, what we're saying is that it's going beyond the world. It's going to the source beyond the world of before, which is pristine. There's no sense of self there.
Is there a world of chaos or we create that world?
All the time.
No. Is it a?
Yeah, there's both. There's both. There's the general objective reality of chaos in the world, and again, chaos is just a term that the world itself. There's like a background in the world, a background energy that says it's a good thing to be full of pride. People understand things this way. But it's a different. It's not like to do evil. It doesn't mean to do evil. It's a much higher place. It's just that everything has to be my way.
We create that world of chaos. That's what I'm saying.
No, so there's a general attitude in general. There is such a thing in the world. When God created the world,
our thing.
It becomes more powerful when we do it. It's like you're saying
we do it, or is it part of the bria?
Same thing you're saying about the evil inclination. If I have a Yetzer Hara, where's it coming from?
Yeah, I understand.
There's a Yetzer Hara in the general world. It's not as bad as when I have it, because the Yetzer Hara itself. When the sages talk about the Yetzer Hara, they talk about the evil inclination. Not neutral. They say. Satan v'pnina l'shem shamayim nitkavnu. The Satan, which means the Yetzer Hara, when Hashem created it, what did He create it for? He created it for a good purpose.
Yeah, for us to
have a challenge.
Yes.
So it means well. It means to challenge us. We take it and we turn it into something entirely.
Yes.
So the same thing about these sparks of holiness. Okay. That the fact that there was a general world of chaos, that's like Esav also. Esav never killed Yaakov. He didn't give him an easy time, but he didn't kill him. He didn't do anything to harm him in the end. On the other hand, his descendants killed many Jews. So there's a difference between the source and the way that people use the source. So they took Al Chalbecha Tichyeh, you will live by your sword, and Esav interpreted it as some kind of spiritual thing. It's how he lived. He hunted animals. He did this. He did that. But he didn't kill anyone. But his descendants, they already understood. You should live by your sword. That means that you should kill people also. So there's a descent in this. So when we say it goes back to its source, it's not just going back to its source to be something that's useful in the world. We're not just elevating the spark as becoming something useful. We're taking it back to its actual source. And that's where we get the strength to access that existence of God that's beyond names, beyond everything, when we say Shema. So how does this work again? The Shem itself, the first two letters of Shema, they equal 340. And that's a value of 288, which is the number of sparks. And 52, the lower world where these sparks are. And he says, from Hashem's perspective, from God's perspective, this 340 together is all good. Why? Because, I'll say this, we talked about this, I think, I'll say it again, that we look at the exile as something that's terrible. So if it's so terrible, why doesn't Hashem end it? Why does God not end it? What's going on? Do you understand why? Like the Rebbe kept saying, what's the purpose in this? There's no more purpose. So why is it going on? So the answer is very simple, actually. From our perspective, it has no purpose anymore. From Hashem's perspective, it has all the purpose in the world. Why? Because from Hashem's perspective, it's nothing bad. Huh? Well, you don't understand. It's like saying to someone, why do you have to go to work?
Why is it called gold?
It's golus, Pesach. Why do you have to go to work? You're going out of your house. It's much more comfortable to stay at home. Why do you go to your job and go in, I don't know, even if you're a farmer, let's say, that's a real tough job. So you have to go out and you have to sweat it out, and it's hot, and it's hard labor from 5 in the morning until 3, 4 in the afternoon. Why? It's much better to stay at home. That's very nice, very, very nice. I want to stay at home, but I also want to grow something so I have food. Hashem says the same thing. I can let you stay at home, but how are you going to make a living? How are you going to merit anything in this world? You're already here in the world. Go do something. So he says the challenges of Gullus, going outside in order to collect all the sparks. That's why we were sent out of our land, in order to collect all the sparks of holiness around the world. You're right, it's very difficult. It's a very difficult job. And maybe you don't think you need it anymore because you already collected enough. But Hashem says, no, what are you talking about? This is your job. I don't want you to miss out on what you'll gain from it.
We get schus. So
Ken.
after the gula, we get schus.
Ken. So Hashem keeps saying, another day.
Another day.
Go work another day. What's the problem? And the Rebbe kept saying, we worked enough. We've had enough.
We had enough. Okay.
Hashem says, that's not fair. It's not fair. Show me that you had enough. How can I show you that we had enough? Very simple. That was the Rebbe's plan. If I show you that every single Jew has already returned to you, so that's a sign that we've had enough. That was the whole program. It's still the whole program.
That was
That we're ready. How can I show you that we're ready? Everybody here is ready. Okay, let's end here for today.